Hi and welcome to Historymakers TV. I'm Matt Prater. Today we're speaking with Leonie McCracken from the Hope Foundation. Welcome to the show, Leonie. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, thanks.
It's good to meet you today. Now, we've chatted with Bronwyn Healy before, founder of the Hope Foundation, and what an incredible testimony and ministry she has.
True.
You've been involved with it a few years now. Tell us how you got involved with the Hope Foundation.
Okay. Well, 6 years ago, I rocked up to a Hope Foundation event. I was in rehab at the time, and they just invited the women at the rehab to this mysterious women's event, and I was like, oh, I don't know what that's about, but they said I could wear whatever I wanted, and that was weird for rehab because I was in a mixed rehab, and they said you can't show any skin or wear any mini skirts or whatever, but for this they said you could wear whatever you wanted, and I was like, cool, because I'd gotten my value from showing my body, and you'll realise why later in the story. But so I turned up at that Hope Foundation event in the same tiny little red dress and stilettos that I used to sell my body in as a prostitute. And I walked across the threshold and I just started blinking back tears straight away. I was so touched by the love that I felt, and they gave me gifts and gave me a beautiful meal, and we were all sitting around circular tables, bunches of circular tables, and Bronwyn came out to speak and share her story. And she said, I used to be a prostitute and I got out and Jesus was the answer. And so I was sitting there like really fully blinking back tears and thinking, I hope no one else at my table sees that, because then they'll know that I used to be a prostitute, and I was so ashamed. But then afterwards I walked up to her and out the back and I said, I want God. And then we prayed, and I started a journey with the Hope Foundation and a radical life change. And here I am today, and I'm a case manager at the Hope Foundation now.
Amazing story.
Yeah.
You know, I remember interviewing Bronwyn several years ago for one of my first ever Historymakers radio interviews, and I was just so blown away by her passion to reach others who are going through what she had been through. And here you are, a living testimony of someone that's been impacted by Bronwyn's ministry and really by Jesus' ministry through Bronwyn.
It's true.
So tell me what life was like for you after you made that commitment to come to the Lord. Was there a lot of changes that happened? Was there a big transformation straight away? Yeah,
there was. I went back to my rehab and I had like 8 months to go. And I suddenly just started wanting to read the Bible and pray. I started to go for walks every day for an hour, just praying about what I learned in the Word, and pouring my heart out to God and crying so many tears and healing so much. And like, if that path could be greener and more flowery because of the tears, like I cried so much just talking to God, and He healed me. And then I just I quit smoking. I stopped being anorexic. I was really anorexic, and stopped living minute by minute, wanting to numb the pain inside with alcohol and drugs. And then I left rehab, and I just wanted more, wanted God all the time. So I went to Bible college for a year, and then I went to the Philippines to work in an orphanage, and then I came back and started work at the Hope Foundation, just gradually part-time, and now it's full-time. It's been full-time for over 2 years.
Can I ask you a bit about your past? So not to glorify the past or, you know, focus on it too much, but just out of curiosity, you know, in your teenage years, you would have had some big choices to make about the direction you spend your life in. And you know, a lot of people say, you know, it starts with smoking cigarettes, it starts with drinking a little bit of alcohol, and then marijuana. You know, was it that downward spiral for you as a teenager?
I think that was part of it. Choices to hang around certain unhealthy friends and do certain unhealthy behaviours, like smoke cigarettes first and smoke pot, and then it did increase to more hard drugs. But I think I probably wouldn't have made those choices if I hadn't been sexually abused as a child and grown up in a violent family. And so I had a lot of pain that I hadn't dealt with from that, and that started to manifest in my behaviours. I wanted to numb it with drugs, and I became bulimic from age 15, and I had it for 18 years. Really? Yeah. But then God set me free of all that. And I ended up, at age 17, I went to uni and did a psychology degree. And I really just had a natural inclination for that, but I also wanted to work myself out and try and get free, but it didn't help me get free, and my problems just compounded, and I just ended up with violent men and in domestic violence, and and then I started my master's degree and had an abortion, and 1 week later rang up the local brothel and started work as a prostitute. Grades spiraled downwards, left uni, left my master's, ended up lost almost everything, and in rehab, very close to dying when I went in there. Yeah, so it's been a complete life turnaround, and it hasn't been the wisdom of man that's helped me, it's been the wisdom and the power of God that set me free, and my testimony is such a witness to that, because I had so much of the wisdom of man in me, and I searched in so many different areas and so many different religions and yoga and nutrition and all these things to get rid of eating disorders and the pain, deal with the pain, and nothing helped me, and psychiatrists and antidepressant medication, which I was on for 12 years, and I'm not on anything anymore, haven't been for years. So
your role now at the Hope Foundation as a case manager, helping girls get back on track when they've been in a lifestyle like you had been in, it must be a rewarding position for you to be in.
It's awesome.
Yeah. What do you do? How do you practically help these girls?
I show the girls what love looks like in practice, and I teach them the word and teach them how to get free through the word. Like, I bring the word to them because that's what sets them free. We're transformed by the renewing of our mind. So for me personally, everyone knows me as a big word girl, and so I teach the word a lot just in passing. Every day I'm looking for opportunities, and that's him in me, looking for opportunities where I can share that. And yeah, and the practical. So the practical looks like court support, it looks like giving them food when they need it, looks like assessing their needs. Do they need linked to a doctor? Do they need linked to a Christian counsellor to deal with like sexual abuse and those heavier, more, they need concentrated help, those areas. So being like a mother hub to them, linking them out to everything, but doing the journey with them through the mountains and the valleys, giving that unconditional love and for the long haul. And a lot of them have never had that from even their parents have had conditional love, but they get unconditional love from us, and that's really powerful. And they're like, wow, you're still with me, and that grace you give's amazing, that like I made so many mistakes and you're still there, still loving me and still helping me along, and we ultimately just point them to God. We don't want to be God in their place, and like my story, I just couldn't have done it without him, so I'm never going to forget that, and so I always want them to go to him. Yeah, he's the ultimate.
I just think it's such an important ministry what Hope Foundation do.
It is.
Obviously, you as a case manager, Bronwyn, a lot of the team there, you would still see a lot of people come in that would think they have no hope. They would think they're stuck in their lifestyle. They've probably got an addiction that they think they can't shake. They probably owe money that they probably think they can't pay. They've probably got people chasing them. That, you know, they think they can't escape. And when you put on an event like you guys do Valentine's Day dinners, where the girls come and you feed them, do you see yourself in some of those girls that come in and think, oh, I just want to rescue that girl like I was rescued?
Yeah, I definitely do, and that gives me a compassion for them, and it also, they can look at me and see, wow, that gives me hope, and they often do come almost completely hopeless, and then there's the risk of suicide, which if they don't make it to us, that happens, that's the reality. So yeah, the hope, they get hope from me, and definitely helps me work with them.
Well, it's so good to see that your life is now a great testimony of God's grace, and I love that you're a word girl. You're into the Word of God. I'm a word man.
Yeah,
I just think it's great that you know, we need to be speaking the Word of God, reading the Word of God, believing in the Word of God, and believing that no matter how hopeless things look, God can resurrect anything. And anyone.
It's true.
And it's just so good to hear your testimony today, Leonie.
Thanks.
Of course, if people want to find out more about the Hope Foundation, what's the best website for them to go to?
It's www.hopefoundation.org.au.
Fantastic. Well, Leonie, I reckon you're a history maker. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
You're on Historymakers TV. We'll have more coming up soon.